It's time for the BAQA. Hey, the BAQA. What you say? The BAQA with Manday. The BAQA with Tiffany. The BAQA. Hey, welcome to Brown Ambition. Brown Ambition BAQA. You have questions. We have some answers. We're not your financial advisor or your attorney or your real estate lawyer, whatever. We're not your mama, your cousin either. Well, we could be cousins. But we are two smart brown girls who know a thing about career, business, and money, honey. But still take what we say with a grain of salt and lean into your professionals. Mandy's out today, but you still got me. And in studio, we have a beautiful doctor, honey. And she's here for BAQA. She's going to ask her question, and I'm going to help her as much as possible. If you want to be in studio, you can. Here's how. You can go to Brown Ambition podcast on Instagram, leave us a voice note with your question, and you can go to brownambitionpodcast.com and click contact us or ask anything and ask a question there, and we can just read it as well. So, okay, let's get started. So we have Dr. Aiko in studio. And so first, tell us a little bit about yourself, Dr. Aiko.
Hey. Yes, so I am a former educator, hence doctor, so EDD.
Okay.
And I worked for 8 years in the education field, taught high schoolers as well as middle schoolers in technology and business. So prior to that, I was in business for 6 years as a financial analyst with the oil and gas industry. And so recently, I've had a third change in careers, and now I'm working for myself, finally, as a life coach. And yeah, so
awesome.
That's a little bit about Dr. Aiko.
So Dr. Aiko, just so you guys know, is one of my mentees, correct?
Yes, correct.
Right? Down to mymentortiffany.com. See, this is one of the benefits. Yes. They got a little jump. They got to jump the line when it came to BAQA.
Yes.
And so tell us what's your business that, can you share the business name?
Yes, it's Integrate Life. Okay. And so I'm a transformational life coach. And so I help people transform their lives in areas where they're not showing up as their whole selves, whatever that looks like. And so they're unfulfilled, right? Mm-hmm. And so we look at that and we do coaching around that, helping them show up more mindfully, basically, because I'm all about mindfulness. That is what has brought me here to this space. That's how I found you. And so, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So you have a question, Dr. Aiko, you have to ask me?
I do. Okay. So with this third career change, I'm used to working for people and businesses, right? Mm-hmm. And so starting my own business, it's another demon altogether, or angel, if you will. And so with that, there have been challenges, right? Like how to build community. And I did listen to your last cast, and we talked your last workshop, and we talked about how to build community. And so for me, because it's new and I do have an aversion to social media, even though I'm on it and it is helping me build my platform, just what guidance do you have for me in that area as far as me being new? Not only that, I'm not really talking about anything that a lot of people are conscious about, right? Like mindfulness, like how many people are really sitting down, breathing, meditating, listening to their bodies, allowing their intuition to be their guide. And so not a very popular subject either, like really how to build that community and draw people in and build my clientele.
So what Dr. Aiko is talking about is that if you're a mentee, that I do at least one like core lesson, like a live lesson a month. They get to ask questions live. It's really awesome. And our last live lesson was how to build community. I let people kind of vote or tell me what they want me to teach on as it relates to so at my mentor Tiffany, we don't talk about personal finance. That's over at Literature Academy. We talk strictly about personal development and specifically as it relates to business, running a business. And so one of the things, I hope you took away from that chat is that community doesn't have to be built digitally. That like, certainly you can use the digital, social media as a tool to help people to be made aware of your community, but if you are someone who has an aversion to social media, the most powerful communities actually meet in person. And so remember I told you one of my favorite communities outside of my dream catchers, and my mentees and dream builders is Girl Trek, right? Yes, I love Girl Trek. They are a community to watch. So what Girl Trek does, it is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to get women, Black women in particular, out walking, Now, what I love about Girl Trek is that they empower women no matter where you are in community with Girl Trekkers around the world. So every Saturday or once a week, they walk. But I don't have to fly to Atlanta to walk. I can walk in my local park by the house, knowing that there are other Black women also walking. I wear my Girl Trek shirt. Like I myself have gone to the park and I've seen this electric blue shirt and I already know, oh, there goes a Girl Trekker. Because I love to walk. I walk almost every day. But do you see how how powerful it is? Like, so you might do, say, weekly meditations and everyone can meditate where they are and you can encourage them to have their sister, cousin, mother, whatever, meditate alongside with them. And so you're building this community, that doesn't have to be in person together, but in so doing, they're doing so under the banner of your business. You see what I mean? That. And so I just want you to think outside the box of what community can look like. Certainly there are communities like on Reddit. They have threads that are communities. Some communities, they congregate under someone's social media. Some communities, back in the day, blogs were super huge and people would congregate on a blog and that was a community. Brown Ambition, we built a community that they show up and they listen to our podcast together, So, the Budgetnista, I have Dream Catchers. And so we have a Facebook group where the community largely gathers. But even with that, remember I said in our chat that I too am trying to figure out ways to take it not just online, but take it offline because true connection is made in person. And so one of the ways I'm doing that with my community, right? I have this big, huge 500,000 people in the Facebook group, but I'm going to be doing wealth walks next year where I'm going to be like, hey, I'm supposed to be speaking for whatever financial event on a Tuesday, but I'm going to come on Monday and I'm going to be at this park and I'm going to walk. If you want to walk with me, wear green so I know it's you. And we're going to walk and talk about money. But how powerful is that to walk and talk about money? It will really empower folks that when they go back to the digital community, that they're really not alone. You know what I mean? And so just think to yourself, like, what does that look like for you?
And I was even thinking too, like just visualizing that other people who are not in the group will then inquire, right?
Exactly.
In the park, they're like, yeah, I like that. I love that.
And so it's like, what can I do? So some people will be with you. Like, let's just say you do meditation or you do a weekly mindfulness activity or monthly, but everyone's kind of gathered. Cause remember what I said, what is a community, right? A group of people gathered, around a specific idea, goal, or activity. You know what I mean? And so it's like you have this group of people, they can live whatever. Yeah. They have a similar goal, a similar activity, a similar mindset. And then ideally, if you really want to gel a community, give them something to do together. Even if together apart. I will meditate at my house, you meditate in your house. Think about the mentees, right? When we get together and I teach the lesson, we are in community in that moment. You see the other comments in the chat and you're like, oh, and what I love is that you guys are connecting. Like somebody will say something and you might tell, oh, Stacey, that's a really good question. Hopefully Tiffany sees it, so she'll answer it. But you're connecting in that way. But even then, what I did, I took it a step further, right? Because we have this great digital community for the mentees. And then what did I do? I said, you know what? I want to see you guys in person. And so I've been to Detroit, Dallas, and DC in the last couple of months because I had speaking engagements there. And then after my speaking engagement, I met up with mentees for dinner and treated them to dinner. So now what was like at first, this kind of thing where it's like this digital connection, like not only did I get to connect and hug people and talk and laugh, but then they got to connect with each other. Like I didn't know all these people lived in DC or in Dallas. And then what did I do afterward? I brought it right back online. I'd always post in our Patreon, hey, here's a picture of last night's dinner. It was so great. Here's a spreadsheet where you can put your name, your LinkedIn, your website, blah, 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 connect with each other, the mentees from Detroit, the mentees from DC. You see what I mean? And so that way, even when I'm not here, you guys connect. Because the most important thing to remember when creating a community, Dr. Aiko, is that people come for you, but they stay for each other. So if you don't create a way for people to connect beyond you, that you don't have a community, you have a cult. You know?
I love that. I love that. That's so true, Tiffany. Thank you for that.
No, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think about the things that I'm doing on Instagram, right?
Hmm.
Having once a week, I do the sound healing on Wednesday, show a new all natural product on Monday, because also getting people to transition to using healthier products. And so what could I do that's specifically for the community, and
Yes.
also building the list, right? So the wheels are turning.
Yes.
So
So
thank
yeah. So
you.
as you're building
Thank you.
community, can remember that you want
Hmm.
to control access to your community. So meaning like
Hmm.
social media is a good place to start, but giving them the
Hmm.
opportunity to connect with you, someplace that you can own that access. So that's
Hmm.
email. That might
Right.
be
Hmm.
Patreon. That might be Mighty
Right.
Networks. Which is
Right.
like another, like Facebook is not a, I mean, I certainly, there's nothing wrong with having your community on Facebook, but it can't just be there, because if Facebook
Yeah.
shuts down today, I don't have access to
Hmm.
my dream catchers, but I have their
Yeah.
emails.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we're moving over, like we're going to be launching Mighty Networks is another group kind of like platform, but you can own
Hmm.
access to that. I have text
Yeah.
messages. It's really important to
Hmm.
remember that you want to own access, because at any moment
Yeah.
social media can change the rules and you don't have access anymore. Hey, 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 BA fam. Can we talk about notifications for a second? Who actually leaves those sounds on anymore? Well, besides that kind, that's another sale on Shopify, the all-in-one commerce platform to start, run, and grow your business. I use it for my Molly Moore merch, and I love it when I get my notifications, okay? Shopify makes it simple to sell to anyone from anywhere. Honestly, literally, I have like 5 pending Shopify purchases. Like I support all these businesses, and they use Shopify because everyone uses Shopify. And I love that I can log in and see like where my packages are, how much I spent. It's awesome. With Shopify, you'll create an online store in your vibe, discover new customers, and grow the following that keeps them coming back. Shopify has all the sales channels sorted so your business keeps growing, from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform, even across social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Sign up for a free trial at shopify.com/brownambition, all lowercase, okay? Go to shopify.com/brownambition to start selling online today. That's shopify.com/brownambition. Any additional questions? I know you had some questions just in general for me.
Um,
Go ahead.
yeah. So I was
Yeah.
curious, like, so if you were me,
Hmm.
knowing my story and where I am, what what would you ask yourself?
Oh, what I would ask myself? Okay.
Like if you were me, knowing like my background, what I'm trying to do, where I am.
I would probably ask me, you asked a really good question before, like, we were doing kind of like our pre-interview. You asked me
Hmm.
something like, how long did it take for you to be profitable? Did you get funding? So those are
Hmm.
really good questions. And I'll say
Okay.
that, so especially at the beginning, like, how did it look? So I didn't know what I was doing, just tumbling and dumbling towards success. I want to say I didn't make, I probably was profitable very early on, but that didn't really mean anything. Meaning like my overhead, because it's just really me speaking and teaching, I didn't have a ton of
Hmm.
overhead. But the first year I maybe made $15,000. So
Hmm.
what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
like, like
Yeah.
babysitters can make more than that. So I was living off unemployment at the time. I was doing that. And so maybe the second year I maybe made 25, third year maybe like 30 or 40, like fourth year like 50. And then I think I want to say it was like the fifth or sixth year, I made maybe like 75. And this is gross. So when I made
Hmm.
75, my take home was 35. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So I want to
Hmm.
say, yeah. So it was not easy. Um,
Okay.
and so, so I want to dispel the myth of the pure entrepreneur from the beginning, meaning that like, I mean, I was babysitting, I was tutoring, I was, you know what I mean? This whole thing that like, I just do the thing. You're right. Some people
Yes.
certainly, but that was not the case for me. I had a lot of supplemental things that I was doing. I had a hodgepodge of things to keep it going. I was also living
Hmm.
very simply.
Hmm.
Like I had cut back on all my bills. I was renting a room at the time. Everybody's not built for that, but I was doing that. I wasn't
Yeah.
really driving my
Sacrifice.
car. I was walking. I was taking
Hmm.
public transportation,
Hmm.
because I knew that like the more money my life cost me, the more that like I couldn't pour back into the business. So I
Hmm.
would say,
Hmm.
I didn't really start making a livable wage like by itself, maybe until like year 5 or 6.
Okay. Okay.
So I think I
That's
want to say
really good to know.
yes. there wasn't a rush, like, and so maybe year 6, I want to say I made 6 figures, like, not take home. I think I made like 100 or 150,000, something like that. And my take home was like 50. And I was like, okay, now that's what I used to basically make as a teacher. So after like year 6, it's like, now I'm matching my preschool teacher salary, so there's a lot of consistency, and you have to figure out that there's something else that has to pay you besides the money, because the money is going to be funny in the beginning. Like, there has to be something that motivates you to keep going besides the money.
Amen to that. That's so refreshing hearing you say that, because this is my first year, and like hearing you saying, okay, you're living off unemployment in the 15th. I was like, oh, okay, I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
That's why it's so important too, Dr. Aiko. I want you to have 3 levels of types of people in your life. So level 1 is mentors, which I serve as one of your mentors, but, seeking out other mentors, even digital mentors. Like, for example, there are people who I've never met, but I admire them. So I listen to all the podcasts they do. I watch their YouTube videos. I follow them on social. So they mentor me without even knowing me. A mentor is someone who is just typically like about 10 steps ahead. So it shouldn't be someone who's like a year or so out. No. It should be a real stretch, because the mentor had been there, done that, wrote a book about it, basically, So some
you were
mentors
my mentor
are also
like that before I joined the mentees. Like, I bought your book first and I read it and I was like, I like her. And then I started listening to you on Instagram. I was like, okay, all right, let's do this. Let's officially be a mentee. So
that's right. So you want to have like, and so you probably not going to have a ton of mentors. You might have just a handful, maybe just 1 or 2, maybe 5, and then some mentors, if you're fortunate enough, you get to actually interact with them. And some mentors, if you're super fortunate, also are sponsors, meaning they put money in your pocket. You reach out to them. They say, sure, I can share your resource with my audience, or whatever that is, you would actually be really good fit for this thing I'm not able to do, so that's like the next level of mentorship, right? So, but that's mentors. That's level 1, right? The second group of people is, and the most important, if you ask me, are your peers. Your peers are sometimes 1 or 2 steps behind or 1 or 2 steps above. So someone could be just slightly above you, but that doesn't make them a mentor. They're still a peer. And so that's super important. This is where you're going to have the largest group, because you see what I just did when you asked me, how long did it take you to become profitable? I got to tell you, but a peer would tell you, like, girl, I'm broke this month. You're like, oh, me too. Okay, good. I used to literally have like 5 or 6 people that I'm like, were you able to pay bills this month? No? Okay. So, yes. So like, for real. And so peers are not about age. It's not about even years in business. Your peers really are just about like, are they around the same level? Like I said, a little behind, a little above, but they will normalize the process, keep you motivated, and make you feel like you're not alone. So cultivate those peers. You can go to conferences, the mentees, those are some peers in there, social media, following people, just reaching out. Like I grew peers by someone, like I might see I love what they're doing. And I might just say, I just want to say congratulations on that thing. That's awesome. And then we build a relationship that way. A lot of my peers now are as a result of me just congratulating them on social media and then keeping in touch and then one day exchanging numbers and talking, so building that peer network is going to be really critical, because your peers will alert you to things that are coming up, some tools and tricks that they're using that are working, so build like an honest, transparent, reciprocal relationship. And then the last and not least is your mentees. So you might think like, oh, it's like, no. You have your you have your doctorate in education. You are, you've taught for many, have been in that space for many years. There are people that more than, and when you help them, you actually helping yourself, because when you teach, you learn twice. So every time that I pour into you, my mentees, I am solidifying that information in myself. And I love to teach. And I'm telling you, sometimes literally I will come to y'all because I haven't quite worked out a thing. And so I will force myself to teach it to you, to force myself to work it out. It's like, what's the language I'm looking for here, Tiffany? What am I really saying? What is the experience? I'm like, you know what? I finna talk to my mentees, and then I will pour into you. And as I'm pouring into you, it becomes more clearer to me. And so it's such a blessing to pour into other people in general. But honestly, when you teach, you learn twice. So like when people reach out to you, like telling yourself, I'm going to check up on that person, once a month and pour into them just for the sake of pouring in. So mentors / sponsors, peers, mentees.
Got
Yeah,
it.
so
Got it.
cultivate
I
that
feel like
group, and
I'm
it
on track. Yeah.
yeah, so it will help you to navigate this process called entrepreneurship, because you ought
Okay.
not to do it alone, It can be a lonely road, but in some parts you do have to take that part by yourself, but not all of
Mhm.
it. I really encourage people
Mhm.
to navigate from a place of like to what you said before, like a holistic place,
That's
and
it.
having
Yeah.
those like group of people will really be helpful to you. So yeah, I mean, you're
I
on
love
your
that.
way. Like I spoke to
Yes.
a young woman earlier today, and I told her to just remember that consistency beats intensity.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so
Small
like
steps every day.
that's it. Like my father would say,
Mhm.
many drops of
Yeah.
water does a mighty
Hmm.
river make. So it's that every single
Mm.
day. I promise you,
Hmm.
it's not the big overtures that's going to make whatever dreams you have happen. It's going to be the
Hmm.
day to day steps, day in, day out, day
Hmm.
in, day out.
Yeah, I see that with my health. So yeah, like the same changes I decided to make in that realm, right? Naturally, but every day, one little thing at a time
Yeah.
has led me to living the life that now I'm sharing. So yeah, I get
Okay.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for
Yeah,
coming
this
on,
was,
Dr. Echo.
yes, indeed. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. All
No,
your
you're
wisdom.
welcome. You're welcome. If you guys want to come on, because you do, um, I say, go ahead on to our Instagram, leave us a voice note, and also to go to brownambitionpodcast.com and let us know. We answer questions, just we'll read them off, but we'll also invite you into the studio if it's a fit. So until next time, y'all. Bye. Hey, BA fam. We're on YouTube. Woohoo! Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel.
And while you're at it, why don't you go over to that little bell icon and just tap that for us. Show the BA fam how much you love us. And that way you'll also get notifications when new videos drop. Also, share the channel with a friend. We're always like, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. And thank y'all so much again for all the support.